Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you are out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.
Yo, as Rob would say, of DolphinsThirsty.com. I'm Bobby Finstock, back in the flesh after traveling down to South Florida to participate in the Miami Dolphins Challenge Cancer event, doing the 5K. I survived. I was with Rob. It was an awesome event, great experience, and I look forward to doing it again. Welcome to FTSN On the Clock Draft Show. I'm with Coach Vogel and the one and only Josh Wingate. Fellas, how the hell are you?
Doing great. I'm ready.
Draft show, man. It's what we live for. It's that time of year, baby. Time of year. Let's get some.
It's that time of year. You know, I went down to Miami. I spent the week down there. Was able to hang out with Rob and the team, the Miami Dolphins fans worldwide, and Tati went with me, my wife, and that was a great experience. We got to go to the beach and have a good time. But I didn't stop working. And by working, I mean the channel, the network, and on OTC, the On the Clock. I was watching film. My internet went out. I was so pissed off. The first day was perfect. I was hammering it out. I was going to the town. You know, when we got back to the hotel room, she was doing her own thing. Had my laptop. The next night, all of a sudden, the internet stopped working. I'm like, what the hell? So I had to drive to my mother's house. I was showing it to Ralph, my stepfather, watching film with him, showing him. Went to work, got back. So happy we had to move the show over to a Wednesday. We usually do it Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. But the guys, Mike had internet issues. Josh had internet issues yesterday. So it's like it just wasn't working out.
That's right.
But
it wanted to be all three of us. It had to be all
and how ironic it is that today on today's On the Clock show, we're going to be touching on quarterbacks, which I know for Dolphin fans, it's like a pariah. You're like, don't talk about a quarterback. We got one. But this is not about that. This is about the draft, and hey, maybe the Dolphins draft a guy to develop and be the backup and whatever. It's about all of that. We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on the latest news for the Miami Dolphins. Xavier Howard cut, Agba's cut. You know, there was some news today with Chris Greer about Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt. We're going to touch on all that. We're going to touch on the Roar Room Simulator, I believe, later on. Wingate's going to discuss on that. And, of course, player spotlights. We're not going to spotlight. We got our top five. We're going to reveal that, but we're going to not spotlight the top players. We're going to spotlight some of the guys that maybe not be drafted in the first round, but maybe should be looked at. But before we roll into that, Coach Vogel, brother, how has your week been?
Man, it's been awesome. Started out this weekend. I got to go to Appalachian State with my daughter. Her and her elementary school was performing at halftime. So like half the kids are on unicycles and the other half are on stilts of a women's basketball game at App State. So we got to go hang out down at App State for a little bit. It snowed. It was the only snow I've seen in like 2 years. So it was pretty cool. And then, you know, came back Monday and had all the internet issues and couldn't get the people I wanted to see. So yes, we're not going to get nasty, Dolphins thirsty.
I don't know yet. I got to see what that opinion is.
Cowboys suck. No, just kidding. No, Rob's absolutely right. No, you know how it is. Stager in the house. Dave Stager, Stager in the house. I owe him a phone call. Got busy with work. Yeah. We're gonna touch on that. But let me ask you this, Coach Rowe, before I move on to Wingate. Obviously, we were scouting quarterbacks this week. We will continue to do so as the offseason continues. But while watching some quarterback film, what has stood out to you the most? Who has surprised you watching film so far?
Well, the one that didn't really surprise me much is Sam Hartman. Living in Winston-Salem, I watched him play, 4 years at Winston-Salem State, and then he played at Notre Dame, my college of choice. But like not seeing a lot of the film on like Jaden Daniels. Watching Jaden Daniels, it was really cool because he didn't, from my vantage point, it didn't look like he put his guys in position to make plays, and he wasn't. The difference between like him and Sam Hartman is like Sam Hartman was just like in the pocket, he'd just throw it up and get picked off, whatever. And Jaden Daniels, he's in the pocket and throws it and it goes right to the guy and stuff like that. So I was pleasantly surprised with him. And J.J. McCarthy was higher than I had expected him to be. I didn't think he was going to grade that high for me. But again, like he was calm and steady all through the season and got a national championship in the process.
Hi.
So yeah, those are the ones that kind of surprised me in the beginning.
I will say a surprise was we all had the same grade of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I think, was it 6.99? I think we all wrapped it up.
Yeah.
And of course, as the combine continues and the season continues, that grade may change. But right now, we're all pretty equal on that. Wingate, brother, before we get into any surprises while watching film for quarterbacks, how you been doing this week?
Doing good. Crazy at work, but getting into this film, I think this was my hardest week of getting into film because my team doesn't need a quarterback. So it's kind of like, what am I watching this for? I have a quarterback already. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this for the Dolphin fans because they really need a quarterback here. So I'm into film. And I'm trying to study to get a quarterback to take these Dolphins to the Super Bowl so the Dallas Cowboys can play them and beat them. We ain't got time.
Oh man! So Ed, while you're watching film, any surprises though? Watching film, anybody stand out to you, whether good or bad, that you were surprised about?
I mean, if we want to talk about surprises, I have a guy that everyone has up high that's not even in my top 5, Drake May. I just do not like him.
Ooh.
I don't know what people see.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I think he is being over-evaluated. He just throws the ball up there. He makes some poor decisions. His arm strength isn't the greatest. His accuracy, like even short to medium passes, are just awful. I'm saying awful. I'm making it a little more dramatic than what it is, but I didn't see it. I think he's going to be the bust of this draft. And Staker is completely wrong with Bo Nix, saying that Bo Nix is bad.
I think for me, like
I will say in regards of Drake May. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think having the draft guide, we're grading the quarterbacks on and stuff, having that helps. So I couldn't get into it before. Like last year, I tried to get into watching film, but being able to put a number with, a trait helps tremendously, and you feel like you're making progress. And like I try not to see what you guys have rated things, so that's why it's just funny that that we all had the exact same thing for Jaden Daniels, and mine went up for him because I had rated. I went back to check like interceptions, and if you had less than 4 interceptions, less than 4 or 5 interceptions, I don't remember what it was, but I went with a higher score, so I went back and changed his, and when I went back and changed it, it made it even with you guys, and I didn't know at the time what the score was. So
I will say about Drake May is one thing. I do have him in my top 5, but what stood out, I was with you. I was expecting for him to be right there with Caleb. To be honest with you, and Jade, I expected him to be right there. But the more I watch, I would disagree. I could see the size, I could see the talent that was kind of there. But what stood out to me was the inconsistency with Drake May. It was just like on and off. It didn't catch me. Like Caleb Williams, I was fully expecting to totally be like, No, I don't see it. What people are seeing, I'm like. But as I continue watching, I could see the potential. I saw the talent. Yeah. I can see there's some things he has to work on, but I can see why he's the number one quarterback in this draft and why he could be. Why a lot of people are saying he's the quote unquote the next big thing. Not going there yet, but I could see it, and that's why he is my number one quarterback. We'll talk about that later. But Drake May, I'm with you. He is in my top 5, but I think consistency was the biggest red flag for Drake May in my opinion.
He really didn't have any significant wins. Like if you go back and watch all his wins, like it was teams that he's supposed to beat that he beat. But like they played Notre Dame last year, could have won that game, and I don't even think it was close, to be honest with you. I was at that game. But like you don't have those big big win over like an SEC school or big that type of thing. It's just your regular ACC schools, Boston College, and Duke, and that type of thing. So I can understand where Josh is coming from there.
Yeah, just like you said, he's very inconsistent. His accuracy wasn't there, and like you said, you're correct when you say they lost a lot of games. West Virginia, North Carolina State, Clemson. They almost lost to Duke. Georgia Tech they lost to. They did beat Campbell, which good job.
Hey, the Camels, baby. The Camels.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, what is the defining win for him? And I don't know if he has that. Like
Appalachian State in overtime.
Yeah.
And this I get what Steger's saying here about the wins thing, Mahomes and how he play. That's why I always say some quarterbacks could be not great in college or and end up being great quarterbacks in the NFL. It just happens all the time.
But the Mahomes thing is different. You watch him on film and you see he has absolutely no offensive line. You see he has absolutely no defense, and that guy is slinging it, bringing it down the field, scoring touchdowns. You don't see that with Drake May. He's wildly inconsistent. His ability within the pocket is not that great. He kind of gets a little happy to run outside the pocket. I don't know. I just don't see it there. I think there's other prospects in this draft that I would take above him.
It's still probably going the first round. I mean,
probably. I mean, I don't. My evaluation has
not
nothing
your
to
preference.
do with what the NFL is going to do.
Yeah.
And they wildly overdraft guys. There's a Mitch Trubisky that went to North Carolina that went first in his draft.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. So, Wingate, you want to get us rolling here?
For sure.
Got a new let's get into these topics. Rob in the house, Daniel Meeham. Great to see him. Stager, everyone tune in. We appreciate you. You're watching On the Clock on the Vince Talk Sports Network. If you haven't yet, if you're new to the show, new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, X, hop on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you. All right. Go ahead, Wingate. Got the floor, brother.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying something a little different here. I put my sweat and tears into this. So hopefully
I'm excited, dude.
I know. Hopefully everyone enjoys it. But we're doing something a little different for latest news. We're going to go into like a little rapid fire, what we think on the situation. But yeah, latest news.
Latest news and rumors.
Okay, so getting into this, latest news here, salary cap increase. It increased $30 million. I think it gave the Dolphins around $28 million. What are our thoughts on this? Vogel, I'll have you go first.
Well, I think obviously it helps Miami with they've got several guys that they're trying to bring back and re-sign and stuff. So I think it definitely helps Miami and having that extra space and the guys that they're cutting and trying to restructure. So I think it's a plus for us. Thank you, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Thank you.
Don't
Swifties.
go there. Don't go there. No, I agree. I think it's huge for Miami. I think we got a Swiftie in the house. I think it's great for Miami, not just for the other NFL teams, but Miami, who was so far over the cap. This kind of gives them a little bit of a bump. We're going to discuss on some of the moves that they've made that help get them a little closer, but they're still not done. we want to talk about re-signing Connor Williams. We want to talk about, possibly Wilkins. This is going to help them do that. So I think it's huge for Miami. It's a huge benefit. And yes, I guess thanks to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, definitely thanks to Taylor Swift. And I'm curious what will come from this, because there is a new viewership in the NFL. Is this just going to increase even more going forward? But I mean, it helps every team in the NFL. So with that, I know there are going to be some upset people out there, but Xavier Howard was cut this last week. What are our thoughts on this? Do you think potentially he could come back or maybe a cheaper deal? What are our thoughts on that?
So for me, I'll say Chris Greer brought that up today, that the dialogue has not ended. It is not a for sure thing that Xavier Howard will not be a Dolphin next season. He is going to be released. That's going to save them some money, get him closer to the cap or over the cap or under the cap. However, if they could find it, look, if we lose him, it's going to suck, but it's understandable. He wants to get paid. He is getting up there in years. However, if you could keep a player like Xavier Howard at a better deal and keep him with Cam Smith, who's going into his second year, who had no chance to play last season, with a Jalen Ramsey, who was pissed off that he didn't have the opportunity to play with Xavier Howard like he should have, you do it. You get it done. Coach Vogel?
You got 2 seconds.
There's everything. I agree. I don't have much to say because I think Bobby nailed it all.
Yeah.
But I do, Howard's one of those homegrown guys that you want to try and keep around. Yeah. If at all possible, if he's willing to, come back on a better deal for us, I think he helps that defense, and I think that's where he and Ramsey could benefit playing together too. So I agree.
Sure. And I think it's kind of what you hoped the Byron Jones, Xavier Howard would have been if Byron Jones could have stayed healthy, because that guy was a legit cover corner. But it didn't work out. Jones got hurt. So now having that Ramsey, Xavier Howard thing to actually work out is kind of the opposite here. We bring in Ramsey and now Xavier Howard's always hurt and it's not working out. But yeah, it'd be fun to see those two, because Howard he's one of the most underrated corners at his time playing corner. That guy.
And I just want to respond to Daniel's comment here. It says Cam Smith is starter, period. No, he's not. Xavier Howard, if he comes back, it's him and Jalen Ramsey job. Cam Smith did he not even start last year, Fangio or not. He's a second-round pick. He has to earn that opportunity. Yeah. You don't just plug and play. He has to earn it.
I think Cam Smith is more of a nickel corner than
he is
a boundary corner.
If we're talking that nickel corner, yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah. But no, if Howard is here, Howard's the starter.
Cool. So another guy got cut. Agba was released as well. What are our thoughts on that? I know this has been coming for a time. I believe everyone thought it could happen last offseason. So Vogel, what do you think about that?
For me, I think it was expected. And I think that they, having the two edge guys that they do, and, the possibility of getting one of these studs out of the draft this year, I can see why they released him. To me, it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah. What do you got, Bobby?
Yeah, it sucks because he is. I agree with Vogel. It's expected. It was expected, but it does suck just because of what he could bring to this team. But with the contract that he had, it was expected. Now, hopefully, this means that the Van Ginkel deal will work out, because you got 2 injured starters already, or 2 injured edge rushers. You don't, you just lost another one by cutting him. Bring back Van Ginkel and won't hurt his bad. I will not stop it, because Howard is not done. Cut it out.
Yeah. Cool. So we hit it. Perfect time here. I think Agba, it kind of stinks that you gave him the contract and it didn't work out. But what can you do? You got to move on some players, and you have other players that need that money. So this is great. Jalen Phillips is known to be having an awesome rehab. Bobby, you were there. You got to meet Jalen Phillips.
I did.
Was it meeting him, and how does he look to be rehabbing?
Honestly, first off, A+ human being, awesome dude, friendly to everybody, walking around normally. Everybody said he's not going to play at the beginning of the season. I don't see that, but hey, I don't know. I'm not an expert. But he looks great. He was moving all right. Wasn't moving any fragile. Didn't have no sticks, nothing. awesome experience, and I'm so excited to see what he could bring next year. I expect big things.
Yeah, I'd like to see him last the full season because he was just hitting his stride, and I felt like, if you have access to him the whole season, that you might one or two of those games might have bounced Miami's way and ended up to a little bit better situation than we were in the playoffs. So
yeah, and I think Jalen Phillips is the one guy that I say you have to keep because I think he's the guy that can develop into that core piece on your defense. Everyone expects these players just to hit it right off. Jalen Phillips is really good, but he could also take that next level up. And I think he's the guy that you give the contract to over Christian Wilkins because I think this guy, pass rusher, coming off the edge, could be a vital piece and can be that like homegrown piece that everyone likes. And like Bobby said, a really good dude. So that's the kind of guy that you want to build your franchise around.
And I didn't get to meet him, Bobby.
No. So here's this. I don't know if you guys are aware.
Yeah, it was real cool. Met him at Alec Ingold, both great guys. Awesome dudes.
I don't know if you're aware, but your owner is trying to sell a minority stake in the team. Is there anyone that you are aware of, or do you think the fans could potentially get together and say, hey, let's buy part of the team?
A la Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, exactly. What do we think about that? Is this a way away from him being an owner, or do you just think it's here, take this and
I don't foresee him stepping away from being the Dolphins owner. My mother got to meet him this last weekend. She thought he was great. But a lot of people see his management style, whatever, the people he's hired, and they're like, he needs to leave, blah, 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 blah. But what he does for just the community of Miami and what he does for the organization, and you see what he's built there out of his own pocket and his commitment to not only the organization, but the community. He's not going anywhere. I think this is something maybe, another celebrity minority having stake kind of, to just bring more excitement to the organization. I would love for the opportunity for fans maybe to come together and get a stake kind of like the Packers. I think that would be a great idea, but I don't think that's the way it's going.
We'll have our own little Finn's Talk Sports Network section.
Minority stake.
Right.
Are you guys aware? It didn't make the cutoff today, but are you aware that Stephen Ross was rated the number one owner?
Heck yeah.
In the NFLPA.
I did see that
in the NFL. Yep, and he was the number one owner. So it would be hard to see Stephen Ross being beloved by many move away from.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are upset with him fan wise, but around the NFL, he's just beloved. So.
Yeah, and the most hated or not the least popular owner was Clark Hunt. You know what I mean? So, would you rather be the least liked owner with how many championships compared to Stephen Ross with 0? But hey, you know what? Again, you see the commitment he has to the community. You see what he's done for the organization. You see the stadium. There's a reason, and what he does for the facilities, for the players and the staff. You know why he's loved. It's obvious that he's loved. As a fan, though, you question, his hiring methods, sticking with guys too long. But hey, you know what? You got to take it when you can.
Perfect. I don't know if you also heard draft pick last year, running back Bijan Robinson said that his goal is to hit 2,000 rushing yards this year. Can he do it?
If they hand him the ball enough.
I mean, he's got the talent for sure.
I think for me, you have to have all the pieces have to work together, right? And you have to have the play calls to get them there. I think what hurt us this year is when trying to get Tyreek $2,000, because I do think some of that played into who Tua wanted to go to and this and that. Other guys are just as open or maybe more open, but I think it's different with a running back because you're handing him the ball and then it's on from there. That's kind of the one piece that's solidified. This is going to be a run play, hand it to Bijan.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, you got to commit to that. The team has to commit to the 2,000 yards. He has all the talent in the world. He can do it. But unless they're going to be built around him, I don't see it. Not yet, at least.
I think you got to have a much better quarterback. And I thought I saw something on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days, that Fields is going to Atlanta.
I mean, we may be talking about that in a little bit.
Okay, I'll rewind.
Spoiler!
NFL
alert.
Combine is this week. What are we most excited for?
Lineman. No, I'm just kidding.
What's the one thing you watch in this process? And you like, are you a 40-yard dash? Are you a drills? Like what are you?
For me in the lineman, it's the drills. And I'm also interested in the bench press. I like to see who's the one dude that throws up the most of 225. But for me, like the offensive drills and the defensive drills, being able to get around the bags and stuff and the hand work and all that stuff. So and then also I do get into the quarterbacks that are actually going to throw, which are the guys that need to throw, to improve their draft stock. So it'll be interesting to see that stuff.
Yeah, again, linemen, I want to see the bench press with the tight ends. Obviously, I want to see some drills. Linebackers, I want to see the drills. I love watching everybody, but I'm most excited for drills in the bench press. Daniel, I just want to respond to Daniel. Can we talk about how Greer is going to let Hunt test free agency? We touched on it just at the beginning there. That's going to impact, obviously, if you already need a left guard. If you lose Hunt in free agency, you're going to need a right guard. Supposedly, what I heard or what I've read was that it's projected they may lose Hunt because he's going to get some mega money if he is able to test free agency, which is not going to be great news for Miami. They're still waiting to hear from Terron Armstead. Supposedly he said he was coming back, but now Chris Greer says, no, there's a March, I don't know what specific date, but there's some sort of date in March. They have a deadline where he'll tell them he's going to retire or not to give him ample time. So yeah, if they let Hunt walk, that will be tough on Miami because then Miami's going to have to not worry about just one guard. They're going to have to worry about two guards, and that's going to mean that Connor Williams is going to be a bigger priority to re-sign because you don't want to lose him, Hunt, and then Isaiah Wynn or whoever's going to be at the left spot. Sorry, I just wanted to respond to that.
No, that's good because I've been saying this through free agency and this offseason. Hunt should be priority number one. I think getting him back will help solidify this offensive line that's kind of not there right now. So I think Hunt should be priority number one. So, and then also to what Vogel was mentioning before, the Bears are trying to trade out of either the first pick or trade Justin Fields. What do you think the best option is for the Bears and for Justin Fields?
I think they need to move on from Justin Fields. I think if everybody is saying that Caleb Williams is that good and that he could be a franchise quarterback forever, I think you've got to go with him. And I think there are teams that are interested in Justin Fields that may not be able to pick that high. Yeah. So I think, you might as well just start from scratch, and you got a new offensive coordinator in there. Bring in Caleb Williams and get rolling.
See, a majority of the fans are saying keep Justin Fields. They want to believe Justin Fields is the guy. You can get a lot of compensation moving on from that first pick. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, so the fans are behind Justin Fields. The players, the majority of them are behind Justin Fields. It would make sense to stay behind Justin Fields, but as an organization, especially I guess the ones who did not draft Justin Fields, you have an opportunity to get possibly a quote-unquote generational quarterback in Caleb Williams. Now, I'm all about a trade down. You have the 9th pick already. You got the number 1 pick. You could trade down, get a buttload of extra picks, especially another one in the top 10, and then you could still move on from Justin Fields, get another pick, and go get Marvin Harrison Jr., go get your quarterback. There are still quality quarterback. Jaden Daniels we touched on. I know we were just talking on Drake May. But in this scenario here, at least I guess where the Bears are currently thinking, you go get your guy, Caleb Williams. You trade Justin Fields for whatever you could get for him. You get the 9th pick. Hopefully, maybe they move up and they do what the Houston Texans did: get Caleb for 1, trade up to 2 or 3, go get Marvin Harrison, and now all is right in the world. The Bears are like in the prime position. If this was the year to be in their position, it was the best time to do it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can't see where they go wrong unless they don't draft Caleb Williams, still trade Justin Fields, draft Marvin Harrison, draft the guard, and then they have no one at quarterback.
Yeah,
That's I guess the only way you could go wrong.
Look at the draft the trade they made last year, right? Isn't this Carolina Panthers pick? Right? So you give up, you trade that to Carolina to go get Young, and then you're sitting pretty this year. And I would have a hard time passing on Caleb Williams.
Yeah, me too. It would just be a hard thing for me to do. But it would depend on who called me up and said they were giving me a ransom. It really would. You got that option of where you can listen to trades for Justin Fields, trade for the number 1 overall pick, and then just make an overall evaluation. The one thing that I'm going to call out in this, you have 1 or 2 more years with Justin Fields on a contract as far as a rookie contract. Get what you can for Justin Fields. Get someone in as a quarterback who you believe. I mean, Caleb Williams is a better prospect than what Justin Fields was coming out. So get that. You get the rookie contract, and you are able to build off of that lower deal the players around you, because you're fully not ready to compete right now. So you can still build off of that. So.
No, 100%. Again, they're in a great position right here. It's a win-win. Either they could trade out and get a ransom, and you're absolutely right. You know, they have that opportunity to sit back, listen to all the offers, and if they could get it, good. But it's going to take a lot to the move away from Caleb Williams. And again, I went into this week hoping or thinking that I'm going to get away from being in on Caleb Williams and maybe seeing he's overhyped. But after watching him, I see the potential. Yeah, again, there's things that he has to work on, but what quarterback doesn't have things to work on? Everybody does. I saw somebody this week, one of the experts, quote unquote, who was saying, "Oh, this guy's a bust already. He's not going to be." It's like, how can you say that? A lot of these guys have things to work on, especially Caleb Williams. However, I see the potential. I see why people are talking about this guy being the next big thing. So Chicago, prime position.
Here's the thing. A lot of guys covering the draft are saying they don't have faith in Williams because he has these personality flaws where he doesn't take the game serious. I believe he says take the game seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
What about there's a quarterback. I can't think of his name right now. Went to Clemson. He's in Jacksonville right now. I cannot think of his name.
Trevor
Lawrence. He came out and literally said he doesn't love the game of football.
Yep.
It doesn't matter to him. No one batted an eye. He was still the first overall pick. Caleb Williams has a ton of talent. You watch the film this year, and you see a poor offensive line. Basically, the same situation you saw with Pat Mahomes, not comparing the two. But you also, if you throw on that all-22, you see receivers that do not separate at all. And you're asking this guy to come and be God in a game where he has no separation and no time to throw the ball. It's hard for that to happen. It really is. So,
and let me say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I think we're putting a lot of pressure on a guy, and you throw on the previous year's tape and you see it again. Like, it was this year. It happens. Like, the talent was not around him. We also consider a guy in the NFL today, God of Pat Mahomes. He can do no wrong. He lost the Super Bowl because he has no offensive line. So
yeah.
So, and I will say too, you brought up a great point with Trevor Lawrence. When Trevor Lawrence said, and he did right before the draft, I don't love football. I could see myself doing something else. He still was taken. Number one, no one said anything. He's still that generational quarterback. Eli Manning. People are criticizing Caleb Williams because supposedly there's a rumor out there that he doesn't want to get drafted by Chicago or whomever. Eli Manning said he didn't want to be drafted by the Chargers. Hijacked the draft. No one said anything. He still was drafted by the Chargers and traded to the Giants. Caleb Williams, I was just reading up today about something because I know about the character issues or supposed, wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, watches film, one of the hardest working people in the room, told his dad he wants to be one of the best ever. There's people out there, first of all, let's be real. At this time of the year, and you don't have to be inside the NFL to know this or be a rocket scientist to know that a lot of these things that are coming out about a player, any player, and it's going to keep coming out more and more stuff, come out of other prospects. These are NFL teams and so forth. We're going to put out stuff on players just to bring them down so they have a shot to get them. They are hoping that Drake May goes number one. Washington is praying for it.
Yeah.
Teams are praying for it, for Caleb Williams to fall so they could snatch him. So, Look, I don't know who's saying that. What I know is that I saw a guy when I was watching him. When I watched him, I go, you can't pass on this dude. When I've listened to him and what I've read on him, because I don't just say, oh, they said something bad, I'm going to zone in on what they said. I'm going to read up on everything. I see a guy who's committed.
You got to do the good and the bad.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Didn't who else came out and said they wanted part ownership in the team? Wasn't that the quarterback for Arizona?
Kyler,
yeah.
I do feel like I heard that.
It's happened before, regardless. Yeah. Like, shoot your shot. If it doesn't happen, oh well. I mean, you still got taken first overall. You can't fault a guy for trying. If a team is willing to give someone ownership and part ownership in a team, go ahead, do your thing. You're not going to look down on someone because they got it.
Right.
And asking, you're going to forget about it in 2 years.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. What if this is not a thing about Caleb trying to make it where a team like Chicago, whomever, he says, you know what, I'm not going to take him just so he could get to where he wants. Remember, a couple of years back, and I'm not saying this should be the case, but a couple seasons ago, when he was teasing about coming out, he said he would like to be, that one Dolphins were one of the teams that he liked. Yeah. He's very vocal about his expectations. There are some players that are like that. We can't always hope and pray that every quarterback or every NFL player coming or draft coming out is going to be goody two-shoes. Some of these guys are going to, especially when you have the talent, are going to say, I demand a lot. You're going to want a lot of men of me. I deserve a little more out of you.
Yep. No,
let's see. Reportedly, I haven't seen any fact here, but it was reported that Caleb Williams' father, Carl, approached agents about the USC receiving an ownership stake for a team that drafts him. Let me see. This is the thing. There's so many things that are coming out and again, here it is, rumors. Like, guys, you can't jump on every little thing you hear. And I don't know if that's fact or fiction, but there's a lot of stuff coming out that is meant to bring players down. Go ahead,
but
Josh.
We're also looking at a player that cried, holding on to his mom and saying, oh, look at that character flaw. Is that a character flaw? Because I remember growing up, people cared so passionately of what they were doing that when they did lose, it forced, they cried because they didn't have any other emotional release to do other than cry. They're not going to go and punch through a wall or anything like that. You would see that as a different character flaw, probably.
Right.
All the man did was cry in his mother's arms because he lost a game that meant so much to him. And now we're looking at that as a character flaw.
That doesn't show me as somebody who doesn't care. That shows me somebody who gives a damn.
Passionately cares. So, I don't know why we're looking at we're picking apart these guys that are, again, pinnacle. I could say this about other things. We do this with Taylor Swift. She's at the top of her career. Oh, why is she on TV? Caleb Williams at the top quarterback in college football. Oh, well, he's crying in his mom's arm. We shouldn't allow that. Stop.
Yeah.
Let people be great.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. And let me just say, Manzano, I have to be honest with you, brother. I just looked and I didn't see anything about that it came out of his mouth. I didn't see anything from Caleb Williams saying that he wants to be a part owner. It said rumor was that his dad threw the idea out there to agents that if any team that would draft him, give him part ownership. Off the Schneid says there's actually a rule that NFL players cannot be owners or owners can't play. They call it the Jerry Jones. Well, it's not the Jerry Jones rule, but yeah. Do me a favor, Anthony. Put in the comments the link that says that it came out of his mouth. Do that.
I would. The one thing I did want to say about about Caleb Williams is that he is not hiring an agent. I think that was reported this
week. And Kyler
week.
Murray did the exact same thing.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, especially
we bashed him
Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, we bashed.
Again,
we bashed all of them through it.
Work,
yeah,
if you can make it work, make it work.
Like the percentage that they take from you is astounding. So if you can make it work, like you said, do it.
100%. Hey, all power to you. And let me just say hello to William of 305 Sports Now. Great to see him. He had Malik Rozier on his show earlier today, for University of Miami quarterback, which was pretty cool. Can you guys imagine if quarterbacks like Dan Marino, Joe Montana, and Terry Bradshaw did this, how much the media would land them? But it seems like the national media is overlooking it. Jim Kelly was drafted by the Buffalo Bills and decided that he did not want to play in Buffalo. He went to play for, I forgot was USFL, the Houston whatever team. He did that for 2 seasons before finally doing that. I don't think anybody hammered him. I think they were actually excited for it. So
that's the same thing that happened to
Dan Marino had character flaws.
The Colts were going to draft.
Why did he drop?
The Colts were going to draft Elway, and Elway said, "I'm not playing."
Bam. There's another one.
Play for the Yankees. Yeah. And ended up getting drafted by Denver. So it's happened. And nobody recently has said, I'm not playing for this team and holding the draft hostage.
Exactly. I just think we thought, like, we're not the ones paying the money. Yeah, yes. I get it that we want to be correct on the player, but we can't, like, fine-tooth comb these players. The only thing we can do at the moment is, yes, if you do hear that someone doesn't like the game of football or something like that, like, you can look into it. But I can also see this man crying in his mom's arms after a loss. That shows me he does care. And, like, other things that you can do, we can do in this process is, because we're not in the room of interviews or anything like that, look at the game film. It's the only thing you can do and evaluate on that. I think everything else that we're hearing is, like Bobby said, teams coming out and throwing out a possible scenario because you saw something happen on the field or you saw him crying or this, that I'm going to throw some doubt in the number 1 overall pick's minds and say, okay, let me see if they can drop to me, because I don't want to give up this capital. I want to keep it and see if I can make them fall.
1,000%. And Anthony, I respect, me, I respect what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I appreciate you commenting and all that. You keep doing so. But I will say this. He says, I see what you guys are saying, but sometimes I fear when I hear that, you're going to have to worry about this kid not taking the sport seriously because of these demands. Does Trevor Lawrence not take the sport seriously? Have you any indication as a Jacksonville draft?
I dropped Trevor Lawrence in my draft. Like, he was my number 2 quarterback because he came out and said, I do not love the game of football. And there's other players that have said that and have failed. But Trevor Lawrence is the kind of guy where you watch him on film and he's not playing 100% sometimes. Like, yeah, he's a great player, great talent, but he would lay on the field a little bit longer, acting like he was hurt.
Yeah.
He would go down. I just didn't like what I saw. And then that was the pinnacle of it. Caleb Williams, you don't see that on film. And then, again, I keep saying this. He cried in his mom's arms because he lost.
Yeah. But that's my thing. And again, I'm not comparing Caleb to Trevor or Caleb to John Elway or Caleb to Jim Kelly. And let me tell you something. Yeah. Jim Kelly, John Elway, Eli Manning, those guys who made demands before the draft, who when they got drafted, they freaking what's his face? Jim Kelly went to Houston and played for the USFL, passed at a chance to play in the NFL, to play for the USFL. When he played for Buffalo, do you think the Buffalo Bills thought, or anybody thinks, he did not take the sport seriously? Eli Manning, who played for the Giants, who didn't want to play for the Chargers for an unknown reason, you don't think he took it seriously or showed that he took it seriously? That's my thing, dude. It's like, look, this kid has shown enough. There are things he has to work on. But taking the sport seriously, giving it all, I don't see that in him. I see a guy who's going to bust his ass when he gets in there to prove that he's going to be the best. Not saying he is going to be, just saying I don't see that character flaw.
I think we need to get him drafted first and then evaluate it 3 or 4 years down the line. Then killing a kid coming out of college trying to get everything he can get, to
100%
money-wise from the pros. So, all right, we need to move on a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I can hammer about this situation all day. But anyway, let's get into our. Well, actually, let's get into the quarterback situation that is current, the Miami Dolphins. What are your guys' thoughts on the current Miami Dolphins situation? Tua, I know you also have. I cannot think of names today. It's been a day. It's been a day. Mike White, and then you also have your third string, Skylar Thompson. What are your thoughts around that? Because that seems like the deepest room in the Dolphins right now. Like everyone else is you're paper thin around different positions, but you do have all three quarterbacks.
Bobby, do you think they'll sign Mike White again? Or do you think
isn't he under contract?
I think the question is, will they move on from Mike White? When it comes to the quarterback situation, I said this while I was in Miami. In regards to Tua, whether you like it, you don't like it, you love it, you hate it, whatever, he's going to be the quarterback next season.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the contract. I know all the talk about the contract extension. I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's the end of the world if it does happen, whatever side of the fence you are on him as the quarterback. But he's going to be the quarterback, so that's not going to change. What Coach Vogel just asked was Mike White in that situation. That I think does need to change because it's about how much confidence you have in Mike White or in the backup quarterback situation that if Tua does go down or for some odd reason the Dolphins feel like late in December he's playing the way he's playing and they go to take him out, that they have somebody reliable back there to come in and step in for him. Or if he goes down, God forbid, you have someone to come in and win you a couple games. I don't have confidence in Mike White, and I do like Skylar or in Skylar Thompson to win those football games. I believe that even if he's under contract, they need to move on from him. Either go through free agency, obviously, and go get a backup, or what we're going to talk about, possibly look into drafting a guy in the draft to kind of develop. What's up, Georgette? Great to see you. Daniel asks, have you guys heard what prospects we have met with? Not yet, but I will be looking into that, and we will discuss as the show goes on next week.
What do you got, Vogel?
It like Bobby said, it is what it is. He's going to be the quarterback next year, regardless of what fans want or don't want. I think they're getting ready to give him an extension. So he could be the quarterback here for the future. So we got to figure out. He's got some things that he needs to work on, which he does every offseason. Every time
he does.
Says, and he's injury prone, and he figured out a way to not get a concussion this year, which is a step in the right direction. So every year he's worked it. Like who was it? Any of the top 3 or 4 or 5 guys that we watched prospect wise, you want to see a quarterback that just takes over in the red zone, whether it's running the ball or throwing the ball. And I feel like, I don't feel like he's comfortable running, unless it's wide open, but there are times where you could roll out, everything's happened. Tyreek and everybody flood to the right, and he can roll out left, and he's there. And he doesn't really want to, he doesn't want to run it in. So,
yeah, I'm well documented in my beliefs on Tua. I think it's obvious that his arm gives out on him throughout the year. But I will say, if we can figure out a way to keep up his where he doesn't fatigue throughout the season, and he plays like he did early on last year, no, you can't move on from Tua because he did play really well. He was the MVP going into, I would say.
And you did say that in our private chats. You were saying that he should be considered the MVP at midway point the season.
He played really well, but his arm just fatigues and it goes out on him and he loses it. And there were obvious plays in the playoff because that was a very close game. There was a couple plays that could have happened, and you guys could have won that game easily. Yeah. And it didn't work out that way, but there were obvious plays where you could see to his arm where he'd throw it to the sideline, and it just took forever, and it gave the defender a chance to stop the play. And I think if someone could go into December with a stronger arm, be almost, and honestly, in January and December, Tu has been a game manager because of that arm strength. And I feel like if you can get someone that can be that game manager with a stronger arm and get the ball to the receivers quicker, all you got to do is be a point guard in Miami. Distribute the ball well,
100%,
and let the players do something with it. So I think if there is an opportunity where I know we're talking about him earlier, but Bo Nix, I think would just fit so well in this offense. But I don't know if you can spend a first round pick because there's other needs that you need. So that's why we're going to spotlight a later round guy in our spotlight this year.
Yeah,
that's right. I just want to say, Coach Vogel's absolutely right, and I think people need to realize that too. When he says that Tua every season improves and he focuses on something, he does it. Again, you bring up the injury thing, and not just concussion in general. His goal was to last throughout the season. He worked on that, the jiu-jitsu, gaining mass, etc., and he's survived the season. This offseason, maybe it is trying to train his arm to last throughout December. No, he can't. But he has to take baseball lessons. But that's for
I mean, there has to be something.
Yeah,
there has to be something in there that he can decide that. But if it came an opportunity to where in the later round drafts that you could get one of these guys, do you think it would be moving on from Mike White, or do you think it would be moving on? And here I go again, losing Skylar Thompson.
Yeah,
Coach.
I prefer, if I'm going to move off one, I'm moving off Mike White. I haven't seen really anything up from him. I think Skylar showed a lot in that game in Buffalo in the playoffs to keep me intrigued with wanting to kind of keep him around, especially as the third quarterback.
Yeah.
Or as a backup and getting one of these guys that we're going to feature later on in the later rounds that bring them in as the emergency third, and you never know. Put one of these guys with a good offensive coach, any offensive coach, and these guys can possibly blossom.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Move on from Mike White.
Perfect. Let's get into our spot, or let's not get into our spotlights. Let's get into, I can't remember. Top five. Yeah. I'm awful at this. Why are you letting me do this?
I know.
Player rankings per position.
So Vogel, I'm going to let you go first.
No, don't let me go first.
Oh, you're going first, buddy.
Hold on, I got to pull up my stuff that I wrote on. What's his name? I don't know if I can find it now. Oh, geez.
Oh, do you want me to move on? I can do mine real quick if you want.
I don't think it's going to matter.
I'm going to move on to do mine.
Oh, okay. I found it. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
So I got, obviously I've been fighting tooth and nail for this guy, Caleb Williams, out of USC. The guy his arm talent is just unreal. The way he flicks the ball and just throws it across his body is just unreal. There's one thing I somehow got availability to join a Zoom call with Kurt Warner. And
look at you.
he was in there talking about, he was talking about his evaluations of a quarterback. And he said, any quarterback in the pocket with a clean pocket can make all the throws. It's the guys that when they get outside the pocket that can throw the ball with this power and just make it look unreal, like a Pat Mahomes off platform, that really separates a quarterback from the rest.
Yeah.
And that's what you get with Caleb Williams. He can off platform just throw the ball anywhere he wants and just throw dimes across the field. And while, yes, his offensive line was bad, his receivers were bad, he still showed that talent, and he showed those flashes throughout the trash around him that was just unreal. So Caleb Williams is my number one quarterback. Little insider information, I never even rated him. So I just watching that film, I saw that he was above and beyond the other talent. But I will say, I think Jaden Daniels is so close and like nipping at his heels. because he might have the prettiest deep ball in all football. That man can just throw a deep ball to the corner of the end zone and just pinpoint that into his receiver. Jaden Daniels, while he can also run around like crazy, he's got an arm on him that is no other. And if he had a defense, historically bad defense, if we watched him have a defense, we could be talking about another team winning a national championship and not Michigan, because this guy was unreal. Yeah. And then my next guy, Bo Nix. A lot of people say he takes too many checkdowns. I mean, I watched the film. Yeah, he did checkdowns, but you also saw him throw it to the middle of the field. You saw him take shots deep, and he displayed a good arm. He displayed good arm strength, good decision making, and accuracy at all levels. And that's why I think while the offense said, okay, we're going to throw a lot of underneath passes, that was the offense. It didn't limit him from doing 15-yard passes and deeper, and you saw the talent there. And he also has the ability to run. If a play breaks down, he can then run around and make a play for you. But the biggest thing I saw, he had 4 interceptions, one game with multiple. He takes care of the football. And ultimately, if you want someone to be a game manager, Bo Nix could be that for you, but also throw at all levels of the field with accuracy and arm strength. And then Michael Penix, I saw talent there. I saw arm strength. He, again, has one of the biggest arms in college football. But I didn't see the it factor with him. He stood in the pocket, threw it, and it was like he was going through the motions. You saw the talent, but I didn't feel that passion and that it factor with him. And then you have J.J. McCarthy, who... Okay, this is my thing, and I'm going to say Bo Nix, I saw him throw at all levels consistently, and they kind of put the game on Bo Nix. But when I saw J.J. McCarthy, a lot of underneath throws, maybe 2 to 3 middle to deep passes throughout the game. He has great accuracy. He has good arm strength. He has everything you want to see. But why didn't they ask him to do more? When the game was on the line, they didn't ask him to win the game for them. It was more of a running attack. And I get, again, it's the offense.
Yeah.
But there was a game where he threw 8 passes. If you go and look at his numbers, he had a high passing percentage. But he also was 7 for 8 that game, which gave him an unreal passing percentage. And he just didn't get asked to do much. So it's hard for me to say, I can put you in a big-time game situation, tell you to win a game for me, and expect you to do it. So that's why he fell a little bit on my board. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. My top 5 is very similar to yours.
Yeah.
Michael Penix, I had a lot of the same thoughts. I did have him high on my board at one point. But it's the injury concerns, right? I mean, how many surgeries did he have in college? 4 different surgeries.
Man, I'm not even evaluating on that. I just
I know, and I saw what you saw.
And then same like not evaluating on that. You put him in that situation. He's probably going to drop down on a board regardless because you do have that injury tag on him. J.J. McCarthy doesn't have that. So that's probably going to bring J.J. McCarthy a little bit higher, and then other players are going to get a little higher as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch to you, Vogel.
So the only one really that I had different was Drake May. I did see some of the same things that Josh saw. I did see some decent throws. He's got a nice sideline ball. He has good placement on the sideline ball. That I didn't see with some of the guys, but still some of those same concerns. Like I didn't feel like, he didn't have like a statement win that you look for with a lot of these guys. So, and then I think J.J. McCarthy was a product of his offense. Wanting to see him make those bigger plays in the offense, but it was more of a running game, and they brought in it felt like they had 5 linemen and 5 tight ends in the game at sometimes because it was just like massive front and then hand the ball off and go from there. But everything that you said about Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, those are all similar to the same things. You were saying, talking about Jaden McDaniels' deep ball, he throws a beautiful ball.
Yeah, it's
and
probably the best in
he's going to make somebody very happy on draft day.
I just hope it's not Washington. I really do hope it's not Washington. But yeah, the only difference we have is Drake May. A lot of people have Drake May a little higher. I like I said, I didn't see it with him. I think we're seeing the big body guy that can throw the ball in the pocket.
The prototype.
Looks like exactly. Looks like the quarterback
like
you should expect.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the arm talent there. So yeah. Bobby, I'm going to transition to you here.
Yes, sir. Which you guys have already said, but I'll add a little bit to it. Caleb Williams, again, I went into watching film thinking that I was going to come away with it, because that's happened a lot. Come away with it going, I'm not so sure. But when watching him, man, you see the potential that's there. You see, like you said, when the pocket breaks, his ability to extend the play, make a play, the arm talent, the natural talent. It's easy to see why teams and NFL media is so high on him. But I got to tell you, Jaden Daniels, I'm with you. I mean, we all had the same grade on Jaden Daniels, but I could see a team, and I don't know about Chicago. It's hard to pass up on a Caleb Williams, but could say, no, dude, I would prefer to take Jaden over Caleb, because this guy may be the most electrifying quarterback in this class. He is. Let's just be real. Yeah. He has. I mean, you look at somebody and his speed, the way he breaks away from plays, extending plays, but that arm, I mean, a rocket arm, he could do it all. I know a lot of Dolphin fans are praying, which it would never happen. Let's just break the news. And I'm not one of those guys that say, I'm one of those guys that say never say never, but never. He won't fall to 21.
Right.
He won't fall to 3.
I know there's some that praying to the good Lord. It's not going to happen. This guy, I just love watching him. He was probably my favorite. I could watch him forever. Mm-hmm. Just every play he made was fun to watch, even the ones he missed on. Drake May, like I said, I could see why people are high on him. I could see why he could be number 1 on some people's boards. However, with the arm talent, with all that whatnot, the size, he has the perfect size. He was inconsistent. Yeah. I saw, there was a lot of, it was like T'Vondre Sweat when I watched him. Inconsistent. Yeah. You could see the flashes, you could see the potential, but then you see a lot of, what the hell was that? What are you doing? Hey, you know what? Doesn't mean he's going to be bad or anything else. He can be successful. That's why he's in our top 5. However, he's not 1 or 2. I changed it up. J.J. McCarthy, I have it number 4. I think you guys are right on the money with what you're saying. He's not flashy in any category. He's safe. He's not great. He's good. I think he's probably the safest quarterback. He's that guy that in year 1, he shouldn't really be your starter, but he could be someone who could come in and win you some games if you put him in as a backup. I think he could be, he reminds me of a guy who could play for Bill Belichick in the Patriots if Bill Belichick was still there. I don't know what the Patriots are going to do, but he screams New England Patriots to me. Nothing flashy, just gets the job done. And Bo Nix, you see why Josh Wingate talks about him so much. He bangs the table for him. Yeah. You see the potential, the athleticism. He's everything NFL teams are starting to look for. He's like, it's kind of similar to my spotlight player that I'm going to touch on. Screams everything NFL teams are going towards with Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes type guys. Big athletic. Yeah, exactly. Bo Nix is a poor man's right now. Don't kill me, Josh. A poor man's Justin Herbert. I know he's from Oregon, both number 10, but a poor man's Justin Herbert. I saw a lot of what you saw and what you talked about, a lot of dump passes, but I also saw the flash. I saw the big throws. I saw the ability to extend a play, which is so important in today's NFL. As Dolphin fans, we screamed for that with Tua from last year, of the ability to extend a play, not just with your arm, but with your legs. Bo Nix brings that. Michael Penix is not in my top 5. I loved him last year in college. He was my Heisman Trophy winner, in my opinion. I know Jaden won it, and I love that. But I don't see an NFL starter.
Cool.
I see a very good backup. That's just me.
And I can't argue with that because, like I said, I just didn't see that it factor. I saw someone that threw the ball around, and we will check in on you. We're going to have the paramedics there in a little bit. We don't know if you're going to make it. But see, and you started mentioning J.J. McCarthy, and the one thing that I took away from him was, is this guy going to be Mac Jones? He's very Mac Jones-ish.
You see?
Jones-ish. Because he is that like prim and proper. He's a leader. And I was big on Mac Jones, and I was big wrong on Mac Jones.
I remember.
Because he was that guy. He was the guy that
he was safe.
Yeah.
He was safe. He wasn't going to be great. He was not going to be bad, but he was going to be good. And that's where I stand on JJ. I mean, and again, don't get me wrong, I'm watching him, and I could see a team that doesn't have a quarterback go, you know what? Let's just take him. Yeah. We'll sign a guy. He could be the backup, but this guy's going to be our future. We'll develop him over time. But I don't know. He's a safe bet.
Drake May might have more passes than JJ McCarthy in his career, and Drake May is a sophomore. So JJ McCarthy is a senior. Drake May is a sophomore. So
game manager.
Yeah, like he hasn't proved anything. Like he's proven that he can, like you said, manage the game at the quarterback position. But when he does it, he does show flashes. He shows like he can be an elite quarterback flash. But why, if you have a quarterback in college football, you know they can win you something. Why are you not putting it in his hands if he is an elite quarterback and the number 1 overall pick, as his coach said, Harbaugh?
Because Harbaugh's stubborn and wants to run the ball.
And he's just trying to build up his guy. He's trying to bump up his guy up the board. I know Vogel asked me the other day, a couple episodes back, would Harbaugh actually get rid of Herbert and draft JJ? No chance in hell. I talked about it. Again, I think he's a safe pick. I think I see the potential of Bo Nix, but I think it's a little more to work on. I think JJ you can plug and play. He's a safe. I think Bo has more potential, but I think there's still a lot to work on. A team who would need a quarterback right now to come in and plug and play, that would be JJ. Bo's someone you don't want. I don't think you don't put him in right away. He might have some flashes, but he's not going to be someone who's going to win you a game.
Need some development.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yes,
even though I think if we're looking at game manager, I just think Bo Nix is the guy that if you're looking at the San Francisco offense and you plug him in there, he is going to excel so much.
That's different. You know what I mean? That's why situations matter. You put Bo Nix in.
I'm just saying that offense. You put him in Miami. You put him in Green Bay. You put him in just that offense, and he's just going to excel at that type of offense. And we're seeing that go crazy in the NFL is that style of offense because we're just picking apart Shanahan disciples and putting it all around. So I just think there's a spot for him in the NFL today. And if he, again, any situation matters, like you said. But if he gets to that right situation, he is just going to, people are going to be like, I was wrong about him. So.
All right, let's get to our next year. Spotlight.
This time next year we'll be saying, I told you we were right.
Yeah, that's right.
Player Spotlight.
Okay, Bobby, I'm going to let you go first so we don't lose you and your voice doesn't go out on you.
Oh.
So I'm going to let you go first. Remember, unmute yourself.
That's right. Hold on.
You good?
I'm good. Go for it. All right, I'm talking about Joe Milton out of Tennessee, 6'5", 236. Man, I love this kid. I have him. We just talked about Michael Penix. He has the same grade as Michael Penix in my book, on my board. He's everything NFL teams are looking for in a quarterback. The size, the arm. I mean, he has a massive arm. He's not going to outmaneuver you. He's not going to juke you. He's going to run over you. Big arm, can throw into tight windows. The elite size. He's a physical specimen. That is what the league is trending for. He is not afraid of pressure, will stand his ground and take the hit while making the throw. And he's hard to bring down. He's able to extend plays. Like I said, won't outmaneuver you, will outrun over you. Now look, he is he's somebody, again, I see a 3rd or 4th round grade on him. I think he'd be a very successful quarterback in the right system, under the right coaching staff. Wingate just brought up San Francisco, the Rams, Miami. This guy will blow up on those teams. I think he could be one of the top prospects come a couple years down the line. Not the most accurate quarterback, lacks touch on his passes, loves to throw through his receiver rather than give that touch to make the easy catch. But that could be work on, and some inconsistent footwork. Every prospect has things he has to work on, but this guy, he's that high ceiling, low risk, high reward. Get him in the 3rd or 4th round and watch him blossom. Love this kid.
I think we were a couple points off between our grades, but yeah, I saw the big arm. What he reminded me of last year was Anthony Richardson. Yeah. Same type of player. I feel like there's more development needed because I feel like at the same time you had those what were you thinking moments with Joe Milton, and I feel like it was more together with Anthony Richardson. So it might be like he's a poor man's Anthony Richardson who, if you develop him correctly, could turn into what we saw last year with Anthony Richardson, and probably, to be honest, doesn't run as much as Anthony Richardson did, so probably isn't going to get hurt as much.
And that's the thing too. I mean, I was watching film on him, and guys like big. I mean, obviously, D linemen and linebackers smashing this dude, or he's bum rushing these guys, and he gets right back up, fired up, ready to go. It has the NFL body like a linebacker. It kind of reminds me like a DK Metcalf, a quarterback who could survive the big hits. And we're talking about durability. He shows it. But yeah, man, Joe Milton, I'm high on him.
Yeah.
Was he only a 1-year starter? Because he played behind Hooker last year, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. Right. Did he play for someone else? I'm not sure. But yeah, Hooker was the starter last season.
Yeah. Hooker came over from Virginia Tech.
I think Vogel and I may have the same grade. I'm not sure. I thought somebody has the same grade.
Yeah, he is. He is. He does. I agree. He does.
He played 2020 with, it looks like Michigan. Yeah, 2020 with Michigan. Joe Milton did. Had 141 passes, 1,000 yards.
He had 7 touchdowns rushing this year. 20 touchdowns passing, 7 touchdowns rushing. 2,813 yards through the air, 5 INTs, had a 70.4 QBR, 78 attempts rushing, 299 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's where the league is trending. You look at Jalen Hurts, you look at Josh Allen, those big, let's say Josh Allen, big arm, big body, could run. He's not sexy running the ball. He's not Jaden Daniels who could out juke you and break your ankle. This guy's going to break your body running through you.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels doesn't even look like he's running fast, even though you know he is.
Yeah.
He's just that athletic that it looks like it's easy. But yeah.
And he's 6'3". He's a good sized quarterback too.
Yeah, he is for sure. So we also have a guy that grew up near him. Notre Dame. Let's hear a little bit more about Sam Hartman, Vogel.
All right, Sam Hartman from Charlotte, North Carolina. Originally went to Wake Forest after 4 years, then transferred to Notre Dame. 6'1", 209 pounds. He's got good arm strength, can make all the NFL throws. When in a stable pocket and time to process, he can be very good. He can be consistent given the right offense. Short timing routes to backs are also a strength. I believe he had a better career at Wake Forest. He was named the winner of the Brian Pickle Award for the most courageous player in the ACC, as he suffered from the Paget-Schroeder disease and had to undergo surgery early in the season, but only missed 1 game despite the illness, having one of his ribs removed. He had a first-year OC at Notre Dame. Did not do him any favors. Hartman found himself under duress early in games. Play calling was not the best and was often screen run, get sacked, big run for a first down. He had too many turnovers at Notre Dame, coupled with young receiving core. Weaknesses include not putting receivers in the best position to make plays, better on the move than sitting in the pocket. He gets happy feet waiting for things to develop.
Yeah.
Interesting prospect on day 3.
Yep. No, I agree with what you said. I dislike quarterbacks that get happy feet in the pocket, and that's one thing that I noticed about him. And
it's like he's waiting. He wants it to open, and didn't have like confidence in himself to make the throw all the time.
And hangs on, like you're saying, hangs onto the ball way too long, which
he took some bad sacks at Notre Dame.
He did. But the thing is there a quarterback that's going to take him saying he looks really good on a billboard?
Yes.
Because he is a pretty boy.
Yes, he is.
Face of the franchise.
We have the Swifties coming in now. Can we get that fan base with this pretty boy?
The other thing about Hartman is he has plenty of experience. Like he played 5 years, 6 years in college. So he's kind of on that because he's opposite of Milton. Milton's only had the 1 year, where you have Hartman, who has plenty of experience. Given him the right offensive coach, I think he can end up becoming a starter at some point.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because that's another reason why I like Bo Nix. He has so much experience. SEC, going out to the Pac, like a lot of experience, and we all know and love Bill Parcells. I mean, he built the strategy behind drafting a good quarterback, and experience is one of them. So, and to be honest, Hartman might be a guy that Bill Parcells loved in the later rounds, and Bo Nix was probably going to be a guy that Bill Parcells was running to the podium for, because high win percentage, a lot of starts, and plays well in the pocket. So
there you go.
So yeah, let's get into Michael Pratt, my guy out of Tulane. Okay, so Michael Pratt, you watch him and you see he can throw the ball anywhere. He has the ability to run, as you just saw. He's got great arm strength, but he distributes the ball very well across all spots on the field. The one thing that I did notice about him, he is a super wiry guy. He reminds me a lot of I just lost the guy's name. Oh my goodness, my names right now. Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, he reminds me a lot of him. But there are some things he needs to work on, like being more comfortable of just slowing down and getting the ball to the open guy. He just wants to hurry up real quick and get the ball out. The one positive that I saw about him that made me fall in love with him, though, is his ability to step up in the pocket and maneuver within the pocket. That is something that if a quarterback has right now, is going to take them a long way in the NFL, because if you can't maneuver a pocket, you're going to take a lot of sacks, and as you need to. So there we go. Oh, you don't see Baker, you see Kyler Murray. I mean, Baker's just a big body. Kyler Murray, you can't run. I really like this guy, and I think there's a spot for him to be a quarterback at the next level. He's going to probably go round 3 or 4. I have him in the second round, but I can envision him being taken in the third or fourth round.
He runs well too.
He does, yeah.
He does run well.
But like, I see him and I'm like, just slow down, like calm down. Maybe not take that 5-hour energy drink before you got on the field, and
right.
Like let the game come to you. But he's 6'3", 220. Like I like him a lot.
Coach, why don't you like Phil Jerkovich?
He started
Jerkovich.
Don't be a jerk about it.
Yeah, I know.
Don't be a jerk about it.
He started at Notre Dame and then transferred to Boston College. Now, when he was at Boston College, I liked him better at Boston College, and then he transferred to Pitt and got beat out at Pitt. I need to watch more film on him, but I didn't fall in love with this game as much as I have these other guys.
I want to say Brett was.
It's just a personal preference for me.
Yeah, I think Brett was pretty big on him at Boston College, but I think he's fallen off on him as well. But yeah, with that, we can get we do this war room thing, but I want to do something different now. I want to do Would You Rather, give you situations and see what scenario you would rather take, and let's talk through them. So let's get into our
Hell yeah.
So I didn't make graphics for this because I wasn't sure when we were going to do this or if we were going to do this. So I am going to present a draft scenario. So we can do draft scenarios. We can do players. Which player would you prefer? But my first draft scenario is going to be in the first round, the Miami Dolphins take Graham Barton, center, guard, tackle, out of Duke. And then in the second round, they take linebacker Tyron Hopper. So that's the first scenario.
Okay.
The second one is going to be in the first round, you get Byron Murphy, defensive tackle, can play well, Texas. And then in the second round, you get Patrick Paul out of Houston, offensive tackle. Let's talk through that. What do you like? So the first one we have Graham Barton, Tyron Hopper. What do you like? What do you not like in that scenario?
Well, I like Graham Barton can play all offensive positions.
Yeah.
He's somebody that, you need a utility player like him that can play all three positions, and he can play center and he can play it well. So, not knowing exactly what we're going to do with Connor Williams, I wouldn't mind that or if you keep Connor Williams and you lose Hunt, he can play guard. And who'd you say in the second round?
Tyron Hopper, the linebacker. I can't think of where he's out of, but yeah.
Yeah. I do like my boy.
Missouri.
I do like the second option.
Byron Murphy, Patrick Paul.
Yeah. With the, he was number one defensive tackle on my board interior. Yeah. So especially if you're, if it sounds like we're trying to keep Wilkins, but if you lose him, I would lean going that way because I think we need a defensive piece and an offensive piece.
Yeah.
That's just thinking out loud. That's
what we're here for.
I think Coach is right on the money. I'll say in regards of, with Graham Barton, what helps him, I believe, especially in Miami's situation, is his versatility to play all three positions because you don't know what's going to happen to Connor. You get Barton, you plug him in at center. You don't know what's going to happen to Armstead. You plug in Graham Barton at left tackle. You don't know what's going to happen with Isaiah Wynn or the left guard spot or Robert Hunt. You plug him in at guard. That helps. That's what teams are looking for. They want players who can play multiple spots. The Dolphins did that with Kendall Lamb last year with a string tackle. He could play right. He could play left. Eichenberg could play guard, tackle, and center. Miami loves that. So that would be a great scenario. Hopper, I'm not really big on. I have to watch more of him. I would have felt better for another linebacker in that spot. Murphy, if he's your 21st overall pick, I love that too because, as Coach says, we don't know what's going to happen with Wilkins. If we lose Wilkins, we get someone like a Murphy who could plug and play right now. Big body, big guy, get him in there. But again, we don't know what's going to happen with Armstead. So, but if you were to lose Armstead and then go ahead and get a Patrick Paul out of Houston, 6'7", I think, 350, I don't know how many pounds. But anyway, that's, to me, I would probably prefer scenario 2 in that scenario over scenario 1 just because of Hopper. If you would have said Edrin Cooper or Jeremiah Trotter or maybe Tavondre Sweat or Brandon Fitz, then I probably would have went scenario 1 because I love Graham Barton and what his versatility. But because of scenario 2, what could happen, I'd probably roll with scenario 2 over because I like Patrick Paul more than I would like Hopper right now. And again, I haven't watched a lot of Hopper. So, I might watch it and go, oh, I love it. But right now, I would roll with scenario 2.
Perfect. So my next question is going to be, we're focused hard on Jackson Powers Johnson. I don't think he's going to be there. I think the Steelers are going to pick him up or someone before. Like I said, I think he's the best offensive player in this draft. So speaking of Graham Barton, I think he's going to be that next guy up for that center position because of his flexibility. He can play guard, tackle like we talked about. Would you rather draft Barton in the first round or wait a little bit and maybe get Can't think of his name. San Pran or Van Pran?
Or
Cedric Van Pran out of
West
Georgia.
Virginia.
Yeah, Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia, or let's say Zach Frazier went ahead of him because I know you're going to take Frazier.
I was about to say, where's Frazier at? Because that's
Cedric Van Pran in the second round, or would you prefer Barton?
Who would be our first pick? I'm sorry. If it was Van Pran with the second, who's the first one you said? Or did it matter?
In the first round. So would you rather the value of Barton in the first round or Van Pran in the second round?
I'd rather have Barton in the first round.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you get better value in the second round for whatever position's there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Fisk was your first round pick.
Hell yes. What's up?
So that would open up. Let's say you traded back and got Fisk in the first round, and then you're able to get Cedric Van Pran. Would that option look better to you, or are you just like Barton is just that valuable to me?
No, I mean no. If you're telling me go get Braden Fisk, then in that scenario, I'd get Braden Fisk and I'd get Cedric Van Pran. I'm down with that. But again, if you're telling me between the two, I think there's better value getting Barton in 21 because again, you could put him at left tackle, left guard, center, or right guard, and he's a plug and play starter right now, day one. Yeah. He's not a Cam Smith. There's no reason why he would not start day one. He's that guy. Where Cedric Van Pran, does he start over Connor Williams at center? You know what I mean? It's like, and don't get me wrong, Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia, you probably know him better than I do in regards to because that's your team.
I couldn't remember his name.
Shoot, that's right. My bad.
No, I do I like him. My issue with Van Pran is that he struggles to get to that second level and carry out his block. But he really is like pass game. He's really good. He's got a nastiness to him, which I really like. But I guess ultimately what I'm saying is, you can get your center in the first round or you can get your center in the second round. Obviously the talent is better in the first round if you were to have that opportunity and look at it as, okay, I got my center in the second. Now let's look at what we can get in the first. But where do you feel like the hot spot is in this draft of your post 20 when you're picking, or you're in that second round? Where do you think the value is in the quality of players? Do you think it's first or second round where you're getting that value?
Coach.
Well, I think for me, it all depends on who's there at 21. But I think, if you were to move back a little bit and still get a guy in the first round, I think that you have several options at center, guard, and tackle.
Yeah.
Offensively that you could pick that are good value in round two. I think some of the guys that we like on the board defensively, I think will be in the second round picks as well. Yep. Daniel Jeremiah feels like it's going to be a quarterback, offensive line, wide receiver heavy first round draft. So that, it really is going to be interesting to find out how things line up with Brock Bowers and like who's going to be the Detroit, who's going to be the Detroit Lions and take them as high, as high as people would want to take them.
Yeah. And
great points, dude.
Yeah. Do you really think, do you think this is just talk of Brock Bowers falling? If you tell me he's a tight end, he's going to fall because of that. I get it. But people are we're evaluating something and saying, oh, he's not big enough. He was next to Rob Gronkowski. That dude is 6'7", 270. He's a big dude. Any tight end's going to look small compared to Brock Bowers. Maybe not Darnell Washington or
don't bring that up.
Ford. Hey, that was my guy.
How dare you? That
was my guy. But a lot of tight ends in the NFL are going to look small next to him, and they're saying he's not going to. People aren't going to draft him because he looks small next to Rob Gronkowski.
I don't think he's going to fall because of his size. I think it's do they
What else
value
would make 'em?
do they value quarterback, wide receiver higher than, and is there a need, right? Because I don't think like Green Bay Packers don't have a need for tight end. They drafted 2 last year. You draft, the Lions, have a decent tight end. So it's like whatever teams are in that 10 to 15 range,
I can't see him getting past the Jets. Like,
I'd be shocked if he makes it past 12, 15. I'd be shocked. I think he's a top 10 prospect. I can't see him. I'd be shocked if he's even near 21 at all.
Right.
Right. And Fautanu.
yeah,
What is that?
Fatanu.
Fatanu out of Washington. Is that who we're talking about, Manzano?
Yeah.
I think, again, players are going to rise up boards. I know he's getting a lot of hype right now. That's another guy who could play tackle and guard. And
I think he's going to be gone before 21.
yeah, I think he's flying up boards.
There's talks of Chicago getting Caleb Williams and then going and getting him.
Yeah. But yes, that is that. If he was there at 21 and Miami selected him, I wouldn't have an issue with it.
Appreciate you watching,
Hunter.
Hunter. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
He got pushed down because teams need a quarterback. I don't think the Raiders are drafting a tight end. They're going to draft a quarterback. I think the Raiders could also go, if they don't go quarterback in this draft, I think you can also see them, and I'm going to say it, Jackson Powers Johnson. They need a center. I think we're undervaluing where JPJ is going to go in this draft, and he's going to go pretty high. I equate him. Like I said,
it's all because of this draft show, Josh.
He's
getting all the love.
It started. I don't really want to say that, but episode 1, we were banging.
We were hide these guys, Bobby.
And then his dad came and followed us on Twitter, and it was the end.
All of a sudden,
the world started talking about JPJ. He was a second-round pick before we started talking.
Well, let me ask you, Coach Vogel, because you brought him up, and I do want to talk about him. Is Zach Frazier? He doesn't get a lot of love because everybody's on JPJ, but Coach, man, is it that much of a drop off from JPJ to Zach Frazier?
I don't think so. The thing that I love about Frazier is that he's also a 4-year champion in wrestling. And doesn't have and people are saying that the concern with JPJ is the injury risks, and Frazier doesn't have that. So I don't, if we don't get JPJ, obviously that would be the gem. But if Frazier were there at pick 55 in round 2 and we grabbed him, I would be ecstatic with that. I absolutely love that kid.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been looking into him a little more, and I saw the same thing as you did about the injury history with JPJ.
Yeah.
So I've been looking into Zach Frazier, and I've loved what I've seen so far. I can't wait to start watching him more intently.
Right.
But I don't think it's, if it does, it would suck. I mean, if we get Jackson Powers, that'd be great. But I think the more, and I'm speaking of Dolphin fans, the more Dolphin fans get in on one player, he's not the guy. They're going to be somewhere else,
And that's what we found out last year. We fell in love with, one
Darnell.
or two guys at that first pick in the second round, and it was like, and then he's there and they don't take him. You're like, what are you doing? We need.
And then you draft a player you don't even play at all. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Hunter's right. The only thing that worries him is Chris Greer's picking.
Yeah, exactly.
Quentin Nelson. I think Quentin Nelson is more athletic but I can see where you're coming from. He's a nasty player.
Yeah.
He's really good in the run game that can get to the next level. When you see like the athletic ability behind Jackson Powers Johnson, he's athletic. He can get out to the outside and move, but his like stiff hips when he's moving is just like I see Jason Kelce when I see that. Because I mean, we all see Jason Kelce dancing, and his hips need. I mean, he needs to go to the Wizard of Oz and get some oil because those things are squeaky. So
that's fine.
Right.
But and that's why I feel like we're stuck on Jackson Powers Johnson, and I'm like we need to move away from that because I don't think it's going to happen.
He's going to be there.
I look at this team, and I do want to point something out here. I did make a graphic for this but this is the current state of the depth chart in Miami. So
make this bigger.
We have I keep saying we. It's not a we thing. You all have
You're a Dolphins fan. Just admit
one player on the defensive line. I root for the Dolphins. My wife's a Dolphins fan, so I root for them.
There you go.
But ultimately, Dallas Cowboys number one. Number one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to take that away. But like we look at this, and if we went in,
that's really telling
to the draft right now.
Yep.
There is this huge glaring need at the middle of, or at the front of that defense of,
and offense.
Look at the receiver.
Yeah, I mean,
look at that.
Yeah.
But when I look at this, you have one defensive lineman right now.
Yeah. One healthy.
Well, under contract
signed,
right now.
Yeah, under contract.
Under contract, one Zach Sealer. So when we're going into this, if we're going into the draft and saying we need a guy,
right,
it's got to be defensive line, right? And the only thing I can think of is maybe it's going to be a defensive end, defensive tackle. Like I'm saying, we have a 3-tech, we have a 5 technique that is a defensive tackle that would just slide out into that position. But you're going to need to find someone. So I'm very interested in, we have the combine happening, and then shortly after the combine, we have free agency. I'm going to update this as we go, but I'm very interested in where these positions fill up, because as well, like you said, the offensive line. You're not walking into day one, opening day, with Lester Cotton and Robert Jones as your guards and Liam Eichenberg as your center.
Right.
So in this,
this is why Miami cut Xavier Howard. This is why Agba got cut. Yeah. And this is why Miami's trying to maneuver their way out. And we'll see how that happens, whether that is to restructure, extend Tyreek Hill. Again, the Tua extension. Everybody's looking at it like, oh my God, we're extending half the fan base. Oh my God, we're extending Tua. That's it. We're stuck. No, this is to free up some cap space as well, because of, look at your defensive line. Zach Sealer, that's your only guy under contract. That's why Byron Murphy makes a lot of sense, or Braden Fisk. You look at Armstead. What's going to happen with Armstead? Now, more than likely he's going to stay, because why would you walk away from that money? And what does Miami do there? Do they try to say, hey, let's renegotiate your deal, let me give you more guaranteed so it frees up more cap? We don't know. But Robert Jones at right guard over Hunt? No, thank you. And then you look at wide receiver. I don't know how many people have said, we're not getting a receiver. We have too many needs. You're going into the season with just Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as your main contributors as receivers, and with Izakama, who can't find his way on offense. You're comfortable with that? Hell no. This is why it's so important to free up the cap. And I'm not saying break bank on any one player. The only guy I'm pounding the table for, and I know that you look at the running back room and you're going, that's not bad. We know Wilson might not likely be back, is Henry. I brought it up earlier, Derrick Henry. But again, if the money makes sense, you do it. However, this is why you free up cap. And I'm not saying break the bank on any one player. Again, go into the draft with as less needs as possible. You cannot go into April, with all these needs and expect to come out winners, because you could go and draft a Jackson Powers, but you still have Lester Cotton as your left guard or your right guard, or Robert Hunt. Your offensive line is still going to be shit. Sorry, trash. Yeah. You go into the draft, just drafted Byron Murphy and still not really addressing defensive line. There's no chance your defense is going to get better. Miami has to free up enough cap to fill as many holes as possible, not break bank on any one player, but to fill as many holes as possible, so that when you go into the draft, BPA, best player available. And that could be receiver, that could be D tackle, that could be O-line. Go ahead, Coach.
And isn't that what Greer said today? Is that he's thinking best player available?
Yeah. And usually that is the case, because look what he did. Again, we all scratched our heads when they drafted Cam Smith over Darnell Washington or anybody else. We all went, wait, what? Not because Cam Smith is a bad player or any of that nature. It was like, wait, we have Xavier Howard. Jalen Ramsey. Why are we doing that? Well, now look, Xavier Howard is gone, and Cam Smith is plugged in his spot. Smart move now. So, and it was BPA in his opinion. Yeah. Whoever that may be now, it might be a receiver. It might be LSU, the kid out of LSU, or FSU, or whomever. But you got to go into this, this free agency not looking to break the bank on any one player. Even Derrick Henry, whom I love and I think would make a major impact on this team for Devon A. Chin and company. As long as the money makes sense, not break bank, but go with as many holes filled or balanced out as possible, so that way you could attack the draft BPA.
So, question with that. We're looking into the future. There's a guy coming up, and I know I talked about him as being the centerpiece of this defense. But Jalen Phillips is a free agent next year. Do you look if a Chop Robinson is available? Maybe taking him because Bradley Chubb isn't going to be available probably early on with his injuries, or Jalen Phillips. Bradley Chubb might be. Jalen Phillips might not be. So Chop Robinson comes in, takes that, and then eventually takes his role, so you're not spending this big salary on him.
So I'll let Coach Fogel follow up, but I will just say that is why I say do not sleep on any one position in this draft, at 21 especially, other than quarterback. Okay, and all jokes aside, I think quarterback's the only one that you could probably go to sleep on, unless, of course, Jaden Daniels, one of those guys, are there. But seriously, any position is possible. But that's why, again, you just brought up a great point. Jalen Phillips is a free agent. So there's a lot of good young players that we have on this squad that could be gone after next season that you're going to want to bring back. That's why this window is closing on Miami. That's why this offseason is so damn important for Miami to make a run. This current core roster, the window is closing. They're talking about extension to work out the thing, whatever. Tyreek Hill, if this team does what they did last year, 3 games ahead in the East, first and second seed, to lose all of that and then get spanked in the playoffs in the wild card. If Miami does that or misses the playoffs, this is not going to – Tyreek Hill, I could see being traded off into the sunset somewhere.
Yep.
Just so – and then Armstead's going to retire or get moved or whatever the hell. That way Miami could bring back a Jalen Phillips or extend a Jalen Waddle, because you got to keep these young core pieces to move on to the future, especially if you decide, hey, you know what? We tried everything we could for Tua. Maybe he wasn't the guy. Maybe he does it. And then that way you move on from him, and you got and then when you bring another guy in here, he's not playing with scraps. He's playing with a talented receiver in Jalen Waddle and a Jalen Phillips on the defensive side. It's that important. That's why this offseason is so damn important for this current Miami Dolphins football team.
I agree. And that's kind of, I'll let you follow up real quick, Vogel, but that's why I'm like, why did you leave Chris Greer in this situation? Because he's got you into this situation of cap hell, not drafting well, all of that. Let's get a new GM in here and let him build the foundations of such a pivotal offseason.
Yeah.
But I'll let you go, Vogel.
No, I mean, you guys have pretty much nailed everything. The thing that drives me absolutely crazy is the fact that Miami just keeps in this cycle, right? So if we miss the playoffs, and then we're like, oh, we got to tear it all down now, because then you get a new GM who is he going to stick with Mike McDaniel? Is he not? Then you fire the coach, and then we're back into right. I mean, how long was Andy Reid a head coach before he actually won the Super Bowl? He didn't win the Super Bowl until he got to Kansas City. So, we've got to find a coach that we really like, that really is working, and just go with it. And freaking just get it right, Greer. Pull your head out of your ass and get it right.
Yeah.
Great point, man.
And just before the defensive tackle from Baltimore, I don't think, if you're thinking of Matabuke, I don't think that's in the realm of possibility as far as money-wise, because he's probably going to be one of the biggest contracts. You might as well just re-sign Christian Wilkinson. But there is a guy out there with them, and I'm going to stall until I can find what his name is.
While you do that, I will just say that Coach Vogel's absolutely right. This is such a me and Ralphie boys in the comments there, and we had a very colorful conversation debate on Chris Greer and Miami situation while I was in Miami the last night I was there, and I love Ralph to death. That's my stepfather. But we had a colorful conversation on Chris Greer this offseason. Look, and I would say I'm not going to pretend that I know more than Greer and all that. Chris Greer is a GM. He's just, he's done well for himself, et cetera, et cetera. But Miami's in the situation it is because of Chris Greer. He's the one who makes the decisions for the last few seasons. This is the most important offseason for Miami, especially with this current squad. Go ahead, Wingate.
Yeah, so Brent Urban. I think Brent Urban is someone.
Oh, there you go.
That you could bring in on the cheap. He played it with the Ravens a while. He went to Dallas and then came back to the Ravens. So he knows the defense. He's going to, like I said, be very affordable and can plug in on the opposite side of Sealer. So.
A good names. And again, if Miami could, and again, I know the sexy names are huge for Dolphin fans. And, it's so easy to go get those guys with the money and whatnot. But I think Miami should be a little more diligent. I know the guy I'm banging the table for, Coach Vogel, agree or disagree about Henry. It blew up today. I made a comment on there, and everybody went crazy. Whoa! I was like, I'm only stating my opinion. However, that's the one guy, and I know people go, we don't need a running back. No, we need power. We need defensive power at the end. We need to be able to run the clock out. We need to be able to run that ball on third and short instead of trying to screen pass it to Tyreek Hill. Yeah. That's why, yes, you add that element with Devon Achane. That's the guy I'm banging the table for. Everything else, play it safe, pay it safe. Go get a cheaper D tackle to fill it in. That doesn't mean you don't draft a Byron Murphy or Braden Fisk or a T'Vondre Sweat, but that way you don't have to draft them. You draft best player available.
Yep. I agree.
Yep. All right. 2 hours. You're damn right, Coach. Move over to Pat McAfee. 2 hours in. This is on the clock. We're having too much damn fun, dude. Yeah. I didn't even realize we were going for 2 hours. That's how much fun this is. And I'm going to wrap it up. Walmart shopping, boys. Damn right, Daniel. No, $5 and below. 5 and below shopping, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you could still win. You could still win the big games. I like you guys better than Kuiper. Really, that's amazing. We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
we let me tell you.
Do you like Kuiper? That's the real question. Do you like him?
Ooh, that's the thing, right?
Bobby sounded a little Kuiperish when you were doing your quarterback thing. I was like, oh, it sounds like Kuiper on there.
I'm just firing up. I'm fired up. But here's my point before we wrap it up. Guys, read my last comment from Wingate when you get a chance, Bobby. I will, and we're going to wrap it up. But I just want to say, and I mean this, I'm so damn excited about what we're doing and how we're doing it, watching film, talking behind the scenes, doing our due diligence. Yeah. And in this presentation, this right here, I mean, I got to give 100% appreciation to Wingate, making the overlays, doing the graphics. It takes so much off of me to actually sit back and, I do other stuff for the show, but then I got to do homework for this, but it makes it so much easier, and I'm hyped doing it. And guys, this is not it. We're not done. Even when this draft season is over, we're still busting it out because we're ready for next season. Yep. Stay with us, like and subscribe. We got so much stuff. Let me go over to go ahead.
No, he says, I've said this. I fear that you're going to sign our quarterback because Greer made mistakes with some extensions he gave. I think you have to. We're talking about money. You have to give Tua a contract so you can lessen his contract this year.
Yep.
And
track.
So you have
something
to
on Tua's extension.
They're talking with Tua's agent at the combine. So I think it's got to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's the guy, but it's kind of the same situation that Dallas is in with Dak Prescott. You have to either move on from him and not know what you're going to get into, or you have a quarterback that can take you to the playoffs or get you to the playoffs. And I mean, you're going to take the known rather than the unknown. So.
Yeah, it's true. And look, I know a lot of people, when that extension happens, they're going to blow up. They're going to go nuts. Twitter's going to get, you're going to have the 2 in the ears. Yes, I told you.
Be in a room with Bobby when that happened? Or not Bobby, Brett.
Yeah, I was like, hey. But because I'm at the point now where it's like, it's going to happen. And it's not the worst thing in the world because you free up some cap and you got that security there. You can focus on getting better or whatever. But it's not the end of the world. What I was going to say, too, I don't have it in front of me and I was trying to look for it. Spotrac released their projected Dolphins to an extension, and it wasn't that bad. I think it was like 30 some odd million a year. However, there was like an out after 2 seasons, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Which I think, and again, it's the same thing they did with Tannehill. So you do that; it's not the end of the world. And I know Ralph brings up Michael Penix. We were talking about Michael Penix earlier. Again, I think there's other guys here, Ralph, and Ralph was watching some of these guys earlier. He watched a lot of, because I was watching it with him. He watched a lot
on here. Get his opinion.
Yeah, let's get it. Oh, trust me, he got it all.
Let's hear it.
We were going to town, man. We were having fun before I left. So yes, yeah. See Jackson Powers. We were just touching on him too. But anyway, we're at about an hour and 50 minutes, 10 minutes until 2 hours. So almost to Pat McAfee time.
There you go.
My voice is getting better. I'm here, but I'm still. They could tell that I'm still kind of recovering. As you could see, I got my my from DCC, the Dolphins Challenge Cancer. Dude, what an event. Got my medal there. I'm so proud.
Is that every year?
Every year, brother.
I might have to get in on that.
Dude, please. Absolutely. You fly down, we'll walk together, man. Whatever it is. It was a humbling and great experience. I'm already, like this show, I'm already looking forward to participating next year, but also raising more money. Yeah. The Dolphins, I think, lead the NFL in raising money for cancer. They broke the record. I think they raised over 70. They raised $12 million over the weekend at that event, and they raised $75 million total.
That's amazing.
Towards the fight of cancer. Amazing. I'm proud to be a part of that in the little way that I was. It was humbling. It was an awesome experience. I look forward to doing it again. I'm sorry I'm super late. You look great. Thank you, Ralph. Love you. All right. Vogel, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, man. Just we may want to do a segment on questions that they have in the chat. There were some questions that we didn't get.
Yeah,
that we didn't get to.
But I want to.
Yeah.
I have it already. If you guys ask questions on Twitter.
Go ahead. Go finish. If you want to do the questions, go for it.
I don't have any questions because people aren't coming to us middle of the week and asking questions. But I have it ready. Let's get a mailbag going on of asking your questions. I'm ready. There is something I do want to touch on. There was a question on YouTube about Christian Mahogany.
Yeah, that's the one of the because he's the kid from Boston College, right?
Yes.
The guard. Yeah.
Was that one of the questions that came up?
Yep.
Perfect. So Christian Mahogany, I did throw on his tape. I think he's going to be a middle round guy, fourth roundish. But there's some obvious likes in his game. He's nasty. He's got power. Like he puts his hands on you and you move. Like he's got very powerful hands. But then he makes some laps in the pass game where he'll let someone go on the inside of him, someone go around him, and then he'll whiff on some blocks. So it's just cleaning that up. But the biggest thing I like about that is you can clean that up, and if he gets his hands on you, you're flying. So I think he's a promising prospect. Again, I say 4th round, maybe 3rd, 4th round, somewhere around there. But he's a fun prospect to watch because you do watch him and players go flying when he touches them.
Yeah. And who we cover next week, Bobby? What position we got next week? Just to let the fans out there know.
I feel like we should do – I'm going to throw my opinion out here like I do every week. We've had a high conversation about safeties. These guys in the comments have been saying, let's draft a safety. Cam Kitchens. I think we should evaluate them.
Okay. Bobby, you're it's
all right. I'm fine with
safeties.
I am cool with that. Let's do safeties. Yeah, no, I'm cool with safeties. We'll touch on safeties.
We might be losing you, Bobby.
Yeah. Going.
Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to figure. Everybody still there?
Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm losing it. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, we lost you there. It's telling you we need to get out of here.
We need to wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but all I'll say is this. I'm good with safeties. We're good. It's the end of the show. As you can tell, the internet's kicking me out. Wingate and Vogel poisoned my computer here, but that's okay. Anyway, We appreciate you. Next week, we'll cover safeties, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Like, subscribe, and Dolphin fans, most importantly, fins up.
It's the Fins Talk Sports Network, FTSN, talking major sports and even wrestling. Bobby Fins Talk and his FTSN crew, they're taking deep dives just to entertain you. Talking Dolphins, Heat, and Hurricanes, Marlins, and Panthers, and Inter Miami. Fins Talk Sports Network, FTSN, yeah.
Miami Dolphin fans, let me ask you something. You love the Dolphins? Do you think they are the greatest football team? How about the greatest show on surf? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then fins up and surfs up to the greatest show on surf.shop today. Celebrate the most explosive offense in the NFL with this awesome exclusive merch. From jackets, hats, shirts, and more, they have it all. Use promo code FINSTALK and save 15% on your order. Show off your fandom. Don't wait. Go to the greatest show.